A man stands trembling at a doorway at night, unable to say what he has just seen. The woman inside does not ask what happened. She has already decided to stay. You are about to learn why her certainty was never a guess. We trace it back to a ledger and a risk no one else would take. 15 years earlier, that same light falls on a different scene, a woman's ledger, open on a merchant's table at dusk. This is Khadija bint Khuwailid, and the ledger in front of her belongs to no husband. Twice widowed, she inherited both fortunes outright and built the largest trading house Mecca had. In a city ruled by men's inheritance, that alone made her rare. Her caravans carried goods worth more than the treasuries of whole tribes, and every season depended on one thing: who she trusted to lead them. A star rises over that road every caravan season. This year she is watching it for a different reason. This season, she is about to hand that entire risk to a man the market has already dismissed. The name reaching her belongs to no merchant's house, just an orphaned clerk. That choice is where the risk begins. That stranger the market had written off was not yet hired. First, understand the house doing the risking. Mecca sat where two caravan roads crossed, Yemen and Syria. Nothing else grew here but trade. A city of merchants judges a person by one measure only: whether their word matches their goods. By that measure, and almost no other, a woman could hold property here. Khadija held more than most men ever would. But inheritance for a widow here was rare and never simple. What the law allowed, custom still had to grant. So she never once stopped proving it, contract by contract. No husband's name backed her seal, only her own, every time. Her house did not run on her labor alone. It ran on hired agents sent out with her goods and her name. Every agent she sent past the city gates carried her risk out of sight, for months, with no way to watch him. This year, the agent she trusted most turned back early, his nerve or his health gone, and would not say which. The Syria season would not wait for her grief. The window north was closing fast. She needed a name to fill that gap, and fast, one she had not yet found. Then a rumor reached her. An orphaned clerk the market had dismissed. She resolved to meet him. She asked to meet him herself. No father, no go-between, just her ledger and his answers. Other agents came with borrowed praise. He came with a list of what could go wrong on the road. She asked him the price of a bad season. He answered in losses, not excuses. No flattery, just arithmetic. She had not heard that from an agent in years. So she doubled the load, twice what she had ever handed a new man. She sent Maysara with the caravan, not to guard the goods, but to watch the man. Bales of cloth, sacks of silver coin, all of it his to carry. The market elder heard the size of the shipment and laughed before he could stop himself. A lonely widow, they said, throwing her house at an orphan to feel less alone. She kept loading the camels. At the northern gate the caravan gathered, hers and now also his to answer for. The gate closed behind them. The road to Syria does not send news halfway. Back in her office she counted what she had staked and what she could not yet see. Weeks passed. No rider came from Maysara, and in this city silence usually means disaster. The silence broke at the city gate when watchmen counted camels on the horizon and ran to find her first. She did not run to the gate. She sealed a ledger first, then walked, unhurried, as always. Maysara reached her first, dust still thick on his wrap, and began his account before the camels had even knelt. The Syria markets had run high that season. A Damascus cloth trader offered a price far above what the house expected. Maysara explained the custom. An agent quietly pockets the gap between the price he got and the price he reports. No one on that road would have known the difference. The clerk wrote the full price anyway, coin by coin. Maysara said he checked the sum 3 times, certain the clerk had made an error. There was no error. The full margin reached Khadija's house down to the last coin, exactly as earned. The house's profit had nearly doubled that season, more than any caravan she had sent in years. The money was not the story the market chose to repeat. The honesty was. She asked Maisara one more question, not about the coin, but about the man. His answer was not about trade at all. It was about how the clerk behaved when he thought no one of consequence was watching. How he behaved when no one of consequence was watching, that is the answer Khadija has waited all season to hear. Winter has closed the passes and the season's business with them, nothing left to test. In this city, a marriage offer travels one direction. A man's family approaches a woman's father. Khadija sends for Nafisa, a woman she trusts, and gives her a message to carry the other way. No father sent this woman. No suitor's family arranged the errand. The wealthiest house in Mecca is asking first. A widow does not ask. A widow is asked. Khadija breaks the order on purpose. The message reaches the young clerk at the caravan district, among crates he no longer needs to guard until spring. He says nothing for a long moment. Then he asks his uncles to speak with hers. His uncle carries the answer forward properly, so the households can still meet by custom. The elder, who once called the caravan a widow's folly, hears the news at the well and says nothing at all. This was never charm. It was a merchant closing her ledger on the one thing coin cannot buy. Every bale he carried, every coin he could have hidden, every silence on the road, none of it was about profit. It was proof. The betrothal is settled before the last winter rain. The market's gossip finally quiets. The trading house has its answer now. But 15 years on, one night will ask her to trust him again, with nothing left to verify. Cloth and silver she had risked before. This risk carried no invoice and no way to check it. 15 years married, and she still read a room the way she once read a shipment. Her husband had taken to walking to a cave on Mount Hira, alone, for nights at a time. A habit the market would have called strange in any other man of his standing. That night, the same star that once marked a caravan's safe road stood over the mountain instead. Then footsteps hit the courtyard stones, too fast, too uneven. He reached the same doorway the whole story opened on, trembling, saying, "Cover me." She did not ask what happened on the mountain before she answered. She only said, "Stay. I am not leaving this doorway." By morning, comfort alone was not enough for a woman who had spent a life verifying claims. With reverence. So she walked him to her cousin Waraka, a blind scholar of the scriptures, for a second opinion. Waraka listened, then said plainly, "This is the same messenger sent to the prophets before him." A house built on tested character had staked its name on something no ledger prices. She was the first to believe him. The house that once risked bales of cloth had risked its whole name, and the question of what that risk was worth was only beginning. That risk history is still asking about was never really about the cave or the doorway. It was about a much older habit, how she had always decided, long before that night, who deserved to be believed. Years before, that habit had a tool, a set of merchant scales weighing silk against silver, one pan against the other. But the heaviest thing it ever weighed was a stranger's word, set against everything she owned. That is what the caravan season really measured. Not the size of a profit, but the shape of a man's honesty under no witness at all. So when she chose to propose the marriage herself, she was not defying custom for its own sake. She was trusting her own scales. 15 years is a long time to trust one reading of a single man's character. On the night the ledger could not help her, the same reading held. That is what it means to be first to believe someone. The star that once watched a caravan cross open desert now watches over one house instead. Every ledger she kept added up to one entry, A woman who staked everything on a word she had learned how to read. Think of the person whose word you trusted before anyone could prove it right. What did that trust go on to change? History carries the lesson. The reflection is yours to keep.